Now that we are in June, the summer is basically here. We thought we may have left all of the AI dramas and stuff that we've seen in May behind us. Well, you're wrong. It's still there, it's still happening. And of course, I am talking about the drama between Scarlett Johansson and OpenAI. And there was an interesting report that was published on May 31st where voice analysis shows striking similarity between Scarlett Johansson and ChatGPT, according to NPR. So effectively, they brought in a group of experts that specialized in analyzing voice similarities. I didn't even know that that field even existed, but there you go. Um, and effectively, they're saying that there are quite a lot of differences between the voices that you've seen of Scarlett Johansson, or, well, claimed that it's her voice with OpenAI. And of course, OpenAI denied that this is not her voice. It just happens to be similar to hers, but, they didn't really sample her voice, etc. And these experts are basically saying that, yes, there are quite a few differences there, but it's still similar enough for it to be not accidental. I've got the report in the description below for you to look at. But some of the interesting points that they were highlighting is that the two voices are similar, but likely not identical. However, although they analyzed a vast array of subtle vocal features, it also zoomed in on several particular dimensions of each voice and tested out some differences. The Sky voice, which is the voice that OpenAI used, that sounds similar to Scarlett Johansson, has a slightly higher pitch than Johansson's. The Sky voice tends to be more expressive than Johansson's voice in the movie Her, and far more expressive than Johansson's normal speaking voice. And Johansson's voice is slightly more breathy than Sky's. I think this really the coolest job in the world. You just basically listen to people's voices. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, it's pretty cool. But the report also says that the researchers also analyzed the voices for likely vocal tracts, or what size throat, mouth, and nasal passages would produce a particular sounding voice, and Sky and Johansson had identical track lengths they found. So, well, this report, again, NPR, they tried to reach out to spokespeople for OpenAI and Johansson, and they haven't received any response. Now, why is this actually important? Now, for me, as you know, I have literally no interest in drama. I mean, there are loads of other, channels out there that like to talk about all of the drama that's happening, inside OpenAI's management and who fired who and stuff. I frankly don't give a shit about any of that stuff, because for me, the tech is out there, regardless of who's the boss. And the tech has an impact on you, on the work that you do, on your personal lives, on children's lives, and so on. So for me, from my point of view, what this really report shows to me that, no matter who says what, the fact of the matter that the technology is out there that allows anyone, not experts or expert companies, to sample somebody's voice, or even, according to OpenAI, even generate a voice that sounds starkly similar to somebody else's. And of course, this is a problem for misinformation. And as you know, and I've been saying this quite repeatedly for actually over years, that the whole issue of misinformation and deep fakes is going to get worse and worse and worse. And of course, we are now in a political election cycle here in the UK and all around the world. If you probably heard in the news that 2024 is the busiest election year in human history all over the world. Imagine that. So pretty much this isn't really the greatest of timings of having really powerful AI tools available for people to be able to create basically fake characters that represent real characters, i.e. deep fakes. And the case in point of that is a report that actually came out on the 2nd of June. I thought it was today, but 2nd of June, that was reported on the BBC. And again, link in the description as usual, where TikTok users being fed misleading elections news, according to the BBC misinformation team or fact-checking team. And basically what they found, there's a plethora of videos that some people say, oh, it's just a parody, videos of Rishi Sunak saying silly things or Keir Starmer saying silly things, etc. But they look scaringly real. And in fact, it could easily make people think that, in fact, this is what they said. Now, I suppose if you're politically aware, if you're like myself, I know I follow politics very closely, even though I'm not actively politically, but I do follow politics really, really closely, pretty much since the whole Brexit thing happened in the UK. Those of you who follow me, they know that I despise the bloody thing. And I've been very much in touch with that ever since, because it has major impact on our economy. It had a major impact on businesses. It had a major impact on my company in so many different ways. And therefore, indeed, if people say, oh, I don't really care about politics, well, I think you should care about politics, because, we are basically electing people that have so much power that, well, I should say enough power to absolutely change our lives, or indeed even screw up our lives. So I think it's important that we stay aware. But nonetheless, people are being tricked by these videos on TikTok. And according to the BBC, it is indeed a very big problem. And I think I had this conversation actually today with a colleague of mine who were like, yeah, Tim, they surely they can tell it's AI. I mean, everybody knows about AI these days, and that AI is it's all over the news. Everybody's talking about AI, and therefore surely people are aware. Well, there's another piece of reporting for you that was published on 28th of May. As I said, I'm connecting these three stories, and you'll see where this is going. So, a study that was published on the 28th of May by University of Oxford and Reuters Institute. And again, there's a good summary about it actually on the BBC, but I'll put both links, the full report and the BBC summary as well, for you guys so you can read it. But it was actually an interesting report, because I always like to talk about how the hype cycle of AI right now is like, apparently people make you think that AI is everywhere, or, well, actually it is everywhere behind the scenes, but that everybody wants AI. Everybody's talking about AI. Yet the reality, if you look at business leaders, they might show a lot of interest in AI, but many of them are literally just walking away from it or staying away. So the adoption rate is around 20%, and there are various conflicting reports, but on average is around 20%. And indeed, even some people talking about that so far the success rate of any AI deployment within an enterprise or a medium-sized business is below 40%, which is crap. I mean, that's not a good success rate. So it was very interesting for me to see this report, because this report talks about the general public. So we're not talking about business anymore. Now, I have to say I'm a little bit surprised, because I thought that the general public would be more aware of AI and have a lot of more interest, especially the young. Well, surprise, surprise, AI products like ChatGPT, much hyped but not much used according to the study. So few people regularly use the much hyped artificial intelligence product like ChatGPT, a survey suggests. Very, very few people. So this is I'm just going to give you a quick summary here. So researchers surveyed 12,000 people in 6 countries, including the UK, with only 2% of the British respondents saying they use such tools on daily basis. Wow. That I'm very surprised. But the study from Reuters Institute and Oxford University says young people are bucking the trend, with 18 to 24% olds, however, are the most eager adopters of the tech. So this is very interesting. Dr. Fletcher, Richard Fletcher, the report's lead author, told the BBC there was a mismatch between the hype around AI and the public interest in it. 2%! This is crazy. So the study examined views on generative AI tools, the new generation of products that can respond in simple text, yada yada. So they explain what generative AI is, and they burst into the scene, yada yada yada. But large parts of the public are not particularly interested in generative AI, and 30% of people in the UK, and this is shocking for me, say that they have not heard of any of the most prominent products, not even ChatGPT. So a third of the UK population did not even hear about ChatGPT, let alone AI or generative AI. So if you've seen my my AI Sunday first episode, which is the monthly review of all of the AI summary and basically my takeaway and so on. I made a point in there that in the world of tech, we talk to one another in a bubble. We expect everybody to know everything that we're doing, right? And I'm still, as I said, I'm still guilty of that today, even though I'm effectively out of that world. Although, of course, with my company, I'm still pretty much in touch. But I'm making a lot of effort to be out of that bubble and really be much more in touch with the real world and talk to people. I even go to schools, my kids' school. I talk to pupils, teachers, and I get invited to various other events that are not tech related. Um, and it just showed that this goes to show that pretty much the world sometimes doesn't even care about what we're doing in the world of tech, what we're talking about. The fact that AI geeks are going about this and this and that. They're like, what's ChatGPT, bruh? What's ChatGPT? Generative AI? What's that? What's AI, man? What's AI? You know what I mean? So yeah, that I think this report pretty much proves it. I mean, it's very interesting. I've read the whole thing. I mean, it's a pretty long report, but I urge you to read it. It's very interesting. It just shows you how I think the world of tech is still pretty much detached from reality. But at the same time, how am I linking all these three stories together? I made a point earlier that, a colleague of mine saying, well, people surely can tell that this is AI. Well, look, man, if people haven't even heard of ChatGPT and they're totally oblivious to AI, right? Or they probably heard it, in the news. They're like, yeah, whatever. It's one of those, yeah, it's just tech hype bullshit, yada, 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 whatever, right? I'm afraid, that 30% of people who have not even heard of generative AI or chat GPT, they're the ones that can be easily fooled with AI. I believe that that's the case. And 30%, of a population, I don't know what's the British population now, 68 million or something like that. 30% of that, that's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people. So yeah, that's a concern. So I think, we're pretty much, I think, in the perfect storm of misinformation because you see, as I like to remind you guys, that back in 2016, the companies like Cambridge Analytica had to be involved to run the sort of campaigns that they ran to really lead the Brexit campaign, of course, the Trump campaign in America, and so on. Now, granted, the psychographic modeling that they use, which the kind of thing that my company does as well, it's quite complicated even today. I mean, even with today's AI, it's still pretty complicated. In fact, AI makes it even more powerful and sometimes even more complex. But I would argue, for the sake of politics, if we're talking about pushing misinformation, political misinformation, and deepfakes, making videos of Rishi Sunak making statements that he's never made, or Keir Starmer making statements that he has never made, or Joe Biden or Trump or whatever. I mean, you don't need a company to do that. Anybody can do that right now. If you have access to the tech, which you do, right? Practically for free, you can do it. And it does make a difference, as according to the BBC report on TikTok, is actually making a difference. Actually, people think that this is real. So yeah, we can laugh and joke about this a little bit here, but this is the reality, my friends, about the consequences of providing such powerful tools to the general public, despite the fact that the general public mostly totally unaware of these powerful tools, without regulation. I don't know about you, but this sounds like a shitstorm to me. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Um, and we and before I carry on, guys, as usual, please subscribe and help us grow this channel. And you're very welcome to follow me on LinkedIn, because I was about to reference a conversation I had on LinkedIn, because there's pretty active public commenting and messaging one another. So it's not private DMs, although I also get a lot of private DMs, but there's a lot of public discussions and conversations in relation to AI and all of the good, the bad, the ugly aspects of AI with world leading experts on LinkedIn. So I urge you to check this out and follow me, and you'll be able to access these things. And yeah, I mean, over the weekend, actually this weekend, there were quite a few conversations about basically where are we going with this, with this whole AI, the AI developments right now, because we're pushing with the innovation and we're pushing with the messaging that AI can do all these amazing things, whilst also ignoring the reality that it can also use for really, really dangerous misinformation and disinformation campaigns. And similarly, and I actually made a short video earlier today about that. The message that, oh, AI can replace people, it can replace humans. Now, again, if you talk to these sort of people who are totally unaware of ChatGPT, they're like, well, what are you talking about? Why would AI replace my job? I don't want some bloody machine to replace my job. And that is actually not true, that the machine can replace their jobs. It can't. We're not in that era yet. They're trying to push it. That's part of the bullshit. That's part of the hype that they're trying to push it. But that's not going to happen. The AI is nowhere near as smart to be able to do that. I mean, for those who, for example, I like to use this example a lot because I think Gemini has proven these bozos wrong when they're saying things like, AI can replace your therapist right now. Yeah, a therapist that will tell you to eat stone every day because it's good for you. Or if you're a pregnant woman, you should smoke because it's really good for your fetus. I mean, come on, bro. Yeah, I mean, that's bullshit as well, right? And then on the similar note, there's other sides, which I think I'm going to actually put a lot more attention on that this month, because I've been talking a lot about in May about all of the hype that you hear a lot about is about, AI can do all these magical things and blah, blah, blah. And I'll call this out. But there's another opposite side of the scale, because as you know, I push very much for responsible AI, ethical AI models, digital ethics, etc. But there is misinformation in that area as well, where you see people who try to use ethics to really spread this whole dystopian danger of AI, that it will kill humanity, it will come after you and after your children. Ugh. And I'm like, I mean, for real, go to LinkedIn, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are loads of them out there. And that's just another sort of another group of, I don't know what to call them, ethics bros, as I guess, perhaps, that they just completely go beyond normality and proportion arguments about, the dangers of AI. And that's why I've got this channel. We try to keep it balanced here because it's really important. So in the same way that, again, that you can fool these people, that AI is smarter than them, it can replace them, right? In the same way, these are the sort of people that can be fooled by ethics bros who will be talking to them and say, you know what, we got this AI thing going. Oh my God, it will end the world. It will kill humanity. Like Terminator, yeah? Oh, imagine that. Skynet. Let's stay calm. This is the problem that we have right now. The public discourse when it comes to AI, it's pretty shitty right now. It's not useful. It's not productive. It's not informative. And it genuinely makes people very angry or concerned or stressed. And the conversation is practically driven by tech bros, ethics bros, politicians, and the combination of all those three things. That's why we need to grow this community, my friends. Let's do this together. Remember what I always like to say? It's about AI that serves us and not the other way around. That includes those three groups that I'm talking to you about, because they all have an agenda. They all have funders behind them. And what I'm seeing right now, in the same way that AI is being used in this way, of course, at a very wide scale, to influence politics, I'm starting to see more and more political influence into AI. I mean, I don't take sides here when it comes to politics or frankly anything. I'm a scientist. And as a scientist, I'm absolutely furious about how the pandemic has been handled, certainly in the UK. Because instead of using science to deal with it, they used politics. Once you involve politics in anything, you turn it into a shitstorm. Like we've seen with the pandemic, as we've seen with Brexit, and we've seen it with Trump and the pandemic in America, in Brazil, etc. When you bring politics into the picture, you bring stupidity, chaos, and frankly, shitstorm, as I like to keep on saying. Yeah? Excuse my strong language if you don't like it, but you know what? I'm being honest. It's bullshit. And I'm starting to see signs of that. Political proliferation into the world of AI. You might say, well, Tim, that's already been happening. Oh, it's getting worse now. I really think it's getting worse. I mean, again, I'm seeing signs of that, and it's not a good thing. And I think these three stories pretty much highlight this. So yeah, this is a fairly short video. And again, as always, guys, I'm gonna leave all of the links below. I've got a very interesting video coming up later this week in relation to a discussion that again is going on LinkedIn, but I've seen a report that is being shared around about how innovation seems to have died in the last 10 to 20 years. I've got very interesting points on that. I don't agree with this argument, but I don't disagree either. We'll discuss that in the next video. But in the meantime, please inform your family, inform your friends about AI, because it is here to stay. It is here that is going in a way that is going to impact you, whether you know about AI or you don't, whether you care about AI or you don't. AI has already been part of your life, guys, for over 20 years. I was part of that. That's why I walked away. That's why I'm here telling you about it. It's been part of your life. It's going to be even more deeply integrated into your life. So the more you understand how it works, the more you can make it serve you and not the other way around. My friends, I hope you have a great start to the week. See you next time. Peace.